fight for a spot. But that doesn't change the fact that he's had a below average season. Yes, different factors come into play, but even with those factors, I think that's where Calvin Phillips ranks this year. The confusion kind of began for me. Where am I going to rank Odegaard? And I decided that Odegaard deserves to be in the world class too. He truly does. When you think about okay, something a bit different here today. Tier list of the best Premier League midfielders in the top 6 this season. Not the top 6, the traditional top 6 with Tottenham and Chelsea in it, because we all know that's kind of over now. This is the top 6. Oh, sorry. This is the top 6 of the current top 6 of the 2022-2023 season. We have the teams like Brighton and Newcastle who managed to make it to the top 6, and for that they deserve a round of applause. They did very well to break into this top 6, especially a team like Brighton who don't have the financial backing like a Tottenham or Chelsea. This is why this game is called a beautiful game. But yeah, without wasting any more time, guys, let's get straight into it. And the first player in this list is Jorginho. And I didn't do this on purpose, but I think Jorginho is a great player to start with, because I'm going to put Jorginho on the mid tier. I don't think Jorginho has been below average. To be fair, when he's been asked to play, he's been alright, I guess. He's just been mid, really. Jorginho's been mid, and I think he's a good player to start off with, because he kind of sets off the standard of where, or at least where each player is going to be ranked, if that makes sense. Next player on the list is Rodri, and with Rodri, there's no questions about it. Rodri is world class, and I don't think I really need to explain why Rodri is world class if you watch football, but nonetheless, I'll do it anyways, because Rodri to me is Mr. Reliable. You see him in the starting 11, and you know exactly what you're going to get from him. You're going to get someone who's going to be able to shield the back four perfectly. You're going to get someone who's an excellent register, who's able to take the ball off the top four and relieve that pressure and progress play. He's also very good when the team is trying to do the transition from left to right. Rodri's the man to go through as well. It's crazy to think that City have Rodri and John Stones both playing the same position. Two players that, in my opinion, are world class level, and they're about to get Declan Rice as well. So well done for City. And just to explain the world class tier a bit better, you have to be, or at least in my eyes, my perceived notion of what a top 5 player in the world in that position is. So I think Rodri is a top 5 CDM in the world. He's definitely a world-class player, one of the very best to do it at the minute. Then you move on to a player in Fabinho who a few years ago used to be in this world-class tier. If this was a tier list that was made, for example, in 2019 or 2020, I would probably have placed Fabinho in the world-class tier. But I think that this season, he's been mid. If you ask some Liverpool fans, they may even tell you that he's been below average. I think Fabinho has been mid. I understand the point of view of someone saying that he's been below average just on how bad this Liverpool midfield has been. But I'm going to place him in the mid tier. And as we go along, maybe I'll change my mind. But for now, Fabinho, I think he sits nicely in that mid tier. Then we move on to a guy like Kevin De Bruyne. And with Kevin De Bruyne, there's nothing really here to say. He is the best player in the world. Not the best player in the world, sorry. He's the best midfielder in the world. He's the best midfielder in the Premier League. And as far as world-class midfielders go, he has to be one of the very first names in that list. So without even thinking about it too much, De Bruyne straight away, world-class tier. What a player. You know, you think of the things he's able to do on the pitch time and time again, the creativity, and also this season that he's came clutch for City as well. I don't think this is in the Premier League, but not just Champions League, but also give Premier League examples. For example, the Champions League first leg against Real Madrid, how he was able to tie that game, which gave City the confidence to go on to demolish Real Madrid at the Etihad. The game against Arsenal, I think that was the biggest game for City this season. That second game against Arsenal, where they played at the Etihad, and where City completely outclassed that Arsenal team. And Kevin De Bruyne was a big play in that game, scoring 2 goals to help City. So a big game player who consistently is doing it throughout the season, world class. It's not even a debate. Then you move on. Then you move on to a guy like McAllister, and I would love to put McAllister world class, but not yet. I don't think McAllister eats in the same table as these guys. But I think that McAllister is Premier League quality. I think he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. I just don't think he is world class just yet. Then you move on to a guy like Martin Odegaard, and this is where the confusion kind of began for me. Where am I going to rank Odegaard? And I decided that Odegaard deserves to be in the world class too. He truly does. When you think about what Odegaard's been able to do this season, and if you're talking about the top 5 attacking midfielders in the world, I think this year especially, and that's the key word for this video, the best Premier League midfielders this season, 2022-2023. But as I was saying, at the beginning of the season, I said that if Arsenal were going to do anything meaningful this year, they needed the guys like Odegaard and Saka to step up, and step up they did. Odegaard coming through with double digits in goals. I think he also came up with double digits in assists. I'm not quite sure. But besides the point, he was instrumental. And outside of the goals and assists, like how perfectly he slotted into this Arteta system, the way he's able to facilitate to his teammates, basically his link-up play with Gabriel Jesus, how he's able to be that transition for Arsenal in the final third. He definitely is a world-class player, especially this season. And I want to see Odegaard continue to progress through the years, because as I've said in previous videos, I've been watching Martin Odegaard since his debut for Real Madrid in 2015, last game of the season. He came on for Ronaldo. If you know, you know. I'm a fan of Odegaard. As a United fan, I wish he was at United. He's playing for Arsenal, but that's tough. That's tough. But as far as world-class players go, Odegaard is in that tier. Is he better than Kevin De Bruyne? He's not better, but if I have to put them in a tier, Odegaard is world-class. Then you move on to a guy like Bruno Fernandes. Again, it's very similar to Fabinho. In previous years, I would maybe have said that Bruno Fernandes is in this tier, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I'm going to leave Bruno Fernandes at Premier League quality for now. He may move. I hope he doesn't move down, but I'm going to leave Bruno Fernandes just here. It hurts to put Bruno here. I love Bruno as a United fan. I really like, or at least I liked what he was doing for the team. But this year, it's really not been the same, has it? Or even last year, for that matter. But if you're talking about individual performances, you also have to factor in the fact that Bruno Fernandes is playing with guys like Anthony, Elanga, Sancho, who are massively inconsistent. He's playing with a striker up front without Weghorst, who at times just like a cone. And then yes, he's playing with Casemiro behind him, but at times he also has to play with guys like McTominay and Fred, especially when Eriksen was injured. So has Bruno not been Premier League quality this year? I think he has. As we go through, we're going to see where Bruno ranks, but for now, I'm just going to leave Bruno in this tier. Then you move on to a guy like Eriksen, who at the beginning of the season, I would have said is better than Bruno Fernandes. I genuinely believe that in the first few months of the season, from August to let's say November, I thought Eriksen was playing better than Bruno Fernandes. He really was. That spark of him and Casemiro, really the spark of brilliance in that midfield. But injuries happen, and Eriksen had a massive drop-off after that, especially when you come to the defensive side of the pitch. You can't be playing as an 8 or even at times a 10 and just provide nothing when we don't have the ball. And then, as I said, after the injury, there was a drop-off in Eriksen's quality on the ball as well. Not really his fault. Players don't want to be injured. But if I have to rank someone based on this season, these are the things that also come into play. And again, good isn't bad. I still think that Eriksen is a good Premier League midfielder. I just can't have him in the same tier as McAllister and Fernandes for now. Then you move on to a guy like Fabio Vieira, and Fabio Vieira has really been lackluster. And I don't want to waste too much time on Fabio Vieira. I think he's had a below average season. I kind of had high hopes for Fabio Vieira. I thought that him coming from Porto, I didn't think that he was going to be a starter, but I thought that he was going to be a nice rotational player for Arsenal. He's not really been that. He's been lackluster with him, as I said before. below average is where I'm going to rank Fabio Vieira this year. Then you move on to a guy like Granit Xhaka. Really, it's gonna be a bit funny, but at times, or for most of the time, the heart and soul of this Arsenal team, and that's not just from a an intangibles point of view, but also from a logic point of view, how Xhaka is able to link up that first defensive side of the ball to the offensive side of the first third of the starting of play for Arsenal to the final third. And I think Xhaka has been able to do that quite well for Arsenal year round. Has there been times where Xhaka's dropped off a little bit? Yeah, sure, there has been times like that. But I still think that Xhaka deserves to be in the Premier League quality team. This is going to be, if he leaves Arsenal, it's going to be very hard for them to replace him. And when or if he does leave, I think they have to replace him as quickly as possible if they want to reach the heights that they want to reach next season, with now Champions League football and etc. in the mix. Then you move on to another player that I think is world class, Ilkay Gundogan. All three City midfielders are world class. And then you look at all three City midfielders are world class. And it just goes to show, it just speaks to how excellent and how brilliant and dominant this City team has been this year. This is Gundogan. I know his head was cut off like Bruno. I do apologize. But it is Gundogan. Gundogan deserves to be world class. Again, if you don't think Gundogan is world class, go and watch a bit more football, because I'm not having that debate. Those three players definitely deserve to be in that team. Then you move on. Then you move on to a guy like Sabitzer, and here's the thing: do I think Sabitzer is being as good as Eriksen this year? No, I think Sabitzer touches Eriksen. I think he's been as bad as Fabio Vieira this year. No, because I think he's been able to help United at times, especially when Eriksen went off injured. So I'm going to put Sabitzer at mid. I think Sabitzer's had a mid-season. Should we sign him back? I think we should, just based on the other players that we have in the team. We definitely need a bit more depth in our team as United fans speaking, of course. If you want to go for the Champions League and etc. next year, and going all out on all fronts, you need a guy like Sabitzer in your team. But as far as this season goes, I have to rank Sabitzer somewhere on this mid here. I don't think I can rank him any higher than that. Then we move on to a guy like Fred, and with Fred, it's like I'm going to leave Fred at mid. I'm going to leave Fred at mid for now, and then we'll kind of circle back at the end of the team. Then James Milner. I think James Milner's had a below average season. You can argue, he's played fullback at times, or he's played here at times. But I'm just gonna leave Milner as a midfielder for now. And as far as this season goes, it's really kind of the same to a lot of these Liverpool midfielders. They've just not been good enough, and that's why a player like James Milner is in this below average tier. And I'm going to leave him there for now. Maybe we'll change it at the end, but for now I'm going to leave James Milner just there. Then you have a guy like Calvin Phillips, and another one below average. Maybe last season or the season before, they've put him somewhere in between Premier League quality and good, but not this year. Yes, injuries do come into play. You can definitely argue injuries. Yes, he's going up against three world-class midfielders where he has to fight for a spot, but that doesn't change the fact that he's had a below-average season. Yes, different factors come into play, but even with those factors, I think that's where Calvin Phillips ranks this year. Then you move on to a guy like Joelinton, the enforcer for Newcastle, and Joelinton, I'm going to rank him at good. Actually, I'm kind of struggling to not put Joelinton in the Premier League quality. I'm going to leave Joelinton at good for now, and then maybe we'll circle back to some of these players at the end of the video. But for now, just leave him at good. I think Joelinton's had a good season. I think he's been, but then the other part of my head is thinking he's been very instrumental to Newcastle finishing in the top 4. He's somewhere here for now. I didn't want to make another tier between good and Premier League quality. We'll leave him here for now, and maybe we'll circle back at the end. Scott McTominay. This tier at the bottom was specially made for this guy. outside of Scott McTominay, I hope he leaves Man United this summer. And with a lot of these players, you can kind of argue, oh, they are Premier League quality, but this season they kind of um either performed very well, kind of didn't perform as well. Different factors come into play, like a player like Fabio Vieira, his first is in the Premier League. James Milner, he's a bit older now. This Liverpool midfield just wasn't as good. Calvin Phillips injuries, and he's going up against some of the best midfielders in the world. With Scott McTominay, there's really no excuse. He's just not good enough. Scott McTominay is just not good enough. Nothing about McTominay moves me. His defensive ability doesn't move me. His passing ability definitely doesn't move me. His IQ at times, it's like it doesn't even exist. So it's like there's really nothing there for me to rave on Scott McTominay about Scott McTominay. He's at the very bottom of the tier, and if you can't see on the screen, it's just a 3 dots tier because I was even bothered to write something for that tier. It's just bottom of the barrel as far as these top 6 midfielders go, and I think that's where McTominay ranks. I think he's really the worst, or at least one of the worst when it comes to the as far as Premier League midfielders go. Then you move on to another Newcastle player. I forgot his name now, but at the same time, I was also going to rank him. It was somewhere between good and mid for me. I'll just leave him at mid for now. I don't know why I forgot his name. It happens sometimes, So many. It's like 27 players in this team. My bad. Then you have Curtis Jones, and with Curtis Jones, again, glimpses of brilliance at times this year, but for the most part, below average. Then you have Bruno Guimaraes, really essential to this Newcastle team this season, and I have to put Bruno at Premier League quality. I think at times this season, Bruno Guimaraes has really been underrated. He's been one of the best CDMs in the Premier League this season. I don't think he's world class just yet, but I think that in the next 2 years, he'll definitely be knocking on that door, hopefully, as he continues to progress and as he continues to improve in that quality. That's what's kind of going on between Joelinton on whether he should be Premier League quality or not, because I don't think he's been as good as Bruno Guimaraes. I don't think he is as good as Bruno. So just good. I think good is not a bad thing. I don't know why I'm being so critical of myself. I'm still saying he's a good player. I just don't think he is as good as the other players on that Premier League quality tier. Then another player, Billy Gilmour. I really like Gilmour. I really liked what he was doing at Chelsea. I'm glad he managed to get out of Norwich, and he's been good. I think Billy Gilmour is. I don't think he's better than Fabinho. I don't think he is better than Jorginho just yet. But his game, there's so much that he can improve on. And he's already good, but there's so much he can improve on. I can really see Billy Gilmour, not next season, but in a few years, him being amongst this tier. That's not this season. That's not this year. But I think he deserves to be in that good tier. I think Gilmour deserves to be in that good tier. Especially on how well Brighton have done this year. Then you move on to Harvey Elliott. I've had my fair share of criticism about Harvey Elliott, but I can't put Harvey Elliott in the same tier as McTominay, as I think that's kind of criminal. I'm just gonna put Harvey Elliott at below average. There was a point in time this season where I would have put him somewhere here, but I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling nice, so I'm gonna just put him at the below average tier. Jordan Henderson. A lot of Liverpool fans will be upset about this, but I know he's your captain. I know you guys love him, but he's also been below average, and it's not good to have 4 players from one team, 4 Liverpool players in the below average tier, but that's just how they've played this season. Below average. Then you have Big Casemiro, come on, and give it up to Casemiro. Arguably, I would say standing off the season over Haaland just because of what Haaland was able to do. But Casemiro, oh my God, does he deserve to be in this world class tier? Does Casemiro deserve to be in this world class tier? What a play! I think it's kind of criminal to not see Casemiro, such a good player, not playing the Champions League. That's why it's going to be good to see him back in the competition next season. He does wonders for this United team. I don't think United finished third if Casemiro wasn't in that team. I think Casemiro, together with Rashford and Martinez, were the three most instrumental players for this Man United team this season. What a player. Definitely 150% world class. I'm not having that debate as well with Casemiro. He is definitely in that world class team. Then you move on to a guy like Longstaff. John McTominay, bro. No, that's gonna. I'll put Longstaff at below average. Then you have Moses Caicedo. It's kind of hard not to put Caicedo on this tier. I'm going to leave Caicedo at world class. I'll leave Caicedo at world class because what this guy's been able to do this year, it's just been incredible. Again, is he really a top 5 CDM in the world? Just off the top of my head, you have Casemiro, you have Rodri, you have Kimmich, as I said, you have De Jong. So maybe he isn't a certified world class yet. I'm going to put Caicedo at Premier League quality, but I'm going to put him at the front of Premier League quality. Because I was thinking about it, like even with my own criteria, I'm putting Caicedo at world class because I'm not sure on it just yet. Because all of these players in the world class tier, my thing is without a shadow of doubt, they should be in that tier. And with Caicedo, I'm kind of having second thoughts. Just because of that, I'm going to put him at Premier League quality, but I'm going to put him at the top of that Premier League quality tier. And finally, Thomas Partey. You know, those comparisons to Casemiro definitely age like milk. But even the people that thought that Partey was in the same tier as Casemiro, and where are you guys now? That was really a shameful thing to say. Horrible take. But with Partey, really, I have to put him at Premier League quality. You know, Casemiro comparisons apart, Partey is definitely a Premier League quality, a Premier League approval stamp, or at least has a Premier League approval stamp to his name. But anyways, guys, thank you. This is the end of the video. Sorry, this is the tier. This is the final tier. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. What class you have: De Bruyne, Casemiro, Rodri, Odegaard, and Gundogan. I don't think you can really argue with that. And at the bottom of the tier, sitting by himself, Scott McTominay. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think of this tier and which players you change. But as I was saying, thank you very much for watching the video until the end. You're much appreciated. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, do all those things to help me grow this channel. And I'll see you guys soon. Another video dropping tomorrow. I think it will be attackers tomorrow. I'll think about it. See you guys soon.